Yo, 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 welcome back. This is another episode review of The Man Who Fell to Earth. Of course, you got your girl, Amaya Desire here, and the one and only T.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. Damn, I look lit as fuck right now. Oh, okay. So, what is this? Episode 9, right?
This is episode 9 as the world falls down.
Damn.
I've been I've been real excited to get into this episode with you all week, man, because we are at
Oh, really?
the climax, the ending of what
Okay.
I honestly I can say is, we got one more episode left, but I can honestly say, like, man, I wasn't really feeling it at first. And as we got to like that midpoint of the season, I was like, okay, I'm really digging it. They started to give us more, and the show just got more and more better. Like, it became appointment television for me. Like, I just had to come back and watch the new episode. Now I'm hearing more and more people talk about it, and
Yeah, people are
it's
starting to
become
get to it now as it's about
right,
to wrap up, but I'm glad because people, it's the buzz. The buzz is picking
right.
up, you know. Well, I mean, since you excited about this episode, I mean, I love the episode too, but you seem a little bit more excited about me. I'm gonna just let you handle it. I'm just
Oh,
gonna
of course, of
continue
course.
drinking.
All right, so
You
we're
know, I'm
gonna
not trying to get too
jump
drunk when
jump
we.
right into it with our review and recap of episode 9. Like I said, as the world falls down, we jump right back into the show, jumping back 10 years into the past, getting a look into the lives of Edie and Hatch, and we
Ugh,
finally see their infamous dad that we've been hearing about like since episode God knows what.
yeah,
And we get a little bit of the relationship between Edie and her father, which we already knew was kind of on edge. It was kind of seemed like almost an abusive relationship, and you get a
distant.
preview
Yeah.
of that,
Hmm.
with her cutting, making him breakfast, making the toast, and then he then takes the toast and
Feeds
feeds
the
it to the
dog.
dog.
Yeah. Mhm.
uh,
Listen, I
we
see where she gets her asshole ways from, cause yeah.
Right, right. But as we know, we keep hearing like that was her dad trying to mentally prepare her for the world.
Right.
Every parent try to use the excuses of how they raise their kid a certain way, when they come out messed up. We also get a preview of little Clyde running around alone, and
Mhm,
just trying to see
mhm.
what's going on with him, because he clearly has something that fell off the block from his mom. What did you think about like just kind of the family dynamic that they frame in this scene here at the beginning?
I mean, it's exactly what they said. You know that what they described. Hatch called it cold, right, and callous at some point, saying that the dad was very harsh with her. So we see that in this piece of the episode. I like how Hatch is still Hatch, though. You know what I mean? It's like he's like, you know what? I gotta come over here more often. It's so warm and welcoming. I'm gonna go
Right,
outside and play with Clive. You know what I'm saying? So I think that just to keeping it the same, like as far as you can see their temperaments, their personalities still being and somewhat of who they are, right now. You
right.
can see Edith is a little bit more softer in this presentation, but still at the least, you still see like she's trying to prove herself, and Clive is just being a kid. So I'm not surprised at the way that they opened up this scene, or this episode. But some of the things that happened, I definitely saw coming, and I was like, mm, okay, okay. But I mean, it's interesting to see the backstory, a little bit of the backstory with Edith and Hatch and their dad, because that plays a big part in the season,
Right.
essentially to itself. So, I'm glad that we got to see that flashback for sure.
Yeah, definitely get a preview of how tense of a relationship this family had. They also kind of make it seem like when they come into the present, like the father had passed like way before that. You know what I mean? So definitely get a little bit more preview of that. And then we get back into finally seeing Agent Finch come back into the play, and she comes to visit Edie and
Mm-hmm.
lets her know, like, look, I'm still on the board. Clay ain't, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
After Spencer already, tried to portray her in the room and put her out, try to air out the dry. Edie's pretty much letting her know, like, look, this is what we doing. CIA still has, Finch is letting her know CIA still has control of the company, and
Mm-hmm.
this is about to happen. Um, but pretty much, like, regardless, at the end of the day, all she really cares about is being able to put a name for herself and take and make sure that the world knows that she was the proprietor of fusion. End of the day, the
Right.
biggest invention that will ever be. is fusion energy. You definitely get a little bit more of like it's the reason why she wants to take credit for that. Like she wants to have her name on the marquee for this whole project.
I mean, she
Um,
doesn't want to be seen as weak and
yeah,
docile. You know, she doesn't want to be seen as the. First of all, they pretty much like the company is shot the shit right now, right? So,
origin, yeah,
you know, they need this win first of all, but then she also doesn't want to be the person that lost the win. She doesn't want to be the person that's left holding, you know, the pieces, so to speak. And I think that it's interesting because she presents like she runs shit, but she really still doesn't. Like she still don't even really believe in herself, so to speak.
right,
I think she's just projecting this way of like being almost, even though deep down inside, I don't know if that's really who she wants to be. I feel like if she could have done it a different way, she would have, but she feels like the only way to do it is to do it aggressively
right.
and almost, you know, dickhead like, which is why I see now her
Yeah.
and Spencer had a little thing. You feel me? They both dickheads. Okay.
Did you think you would see Finch again coming back into this episode? Like you because like she when she was done, she was done. You know what I mean? Like she was already she hadn't really had that much time in the show as is. But did you think you would see her
Yeah.
pop up at all?
No, I thought it was interesting for her to show back up, quite frankly. And the tidbit that they gave us, I don't know. I'm not like feeling it. It felt kind of like thrown in because what happened between the time that Spence threw her under the bus until now where she's presenting, you
Right.
know, so I think it's just interesting that they're now presenting this kind of a, I want to call it like a branch off of the original storyline between Spence and Fish. I mean, and
Right.
Finch, because they've never met Finch. Edith nor Hatch has ever met Finch. So this is a very interesting kind of a twist that I didn't see coming for sure.
Right. Um, we then jump to your girl Portia, being super friend, going above and beyond, man. Everybody needs friends like this, right? Like everybody needs somebody that's ready to roll, be in your corner. And I really like her character. I'm not gonna say like she's not realistic of a character. Like people don't really exist. Like people not friends like this anymore. You know what I mean? They're not ride or die, to this extent. But we see her wake up, Molly in the middle of the night. Hey, yo, we gotta go. It's time to go. Like I think somebody with us, and they get in the car and they dip at this point. You know what I mean? And then they wind up getting caught by who we think is the CIA or whoever it is that pulls up on them. And then we cut to the scene where Spencer and Lisa are in the car talking, and she looking at this guy. Yo, you wilding. So
Right.
you wilding. She explains to him like, look, you did AYZ. I ain't trying to go to jail, and he's just out of control. And we found out like we know he just went up into an abbey full of women, just shot up the spot. You know what I mean? Last episode, and she was like, look, that was uncalled for. And then we cut back to Spencer hitting Faraday and Justin with the interrogation. I, at this point, man, we get a lot of tense. We start the tension in this episode for sure. What was your what was like? What you think was coming into this? Like, what did you think was going to happen out of this coming into the scene? Like the whole, I guess, torture scene. Not
I
really torture,
mean,
but like interrogation.
I felt like one, Faraday is an alien. So what exactly were they gonna do that was gonna hurt
Right.
him? My
Yeah.
initial thought was that they're just gonna do some shit to Justin because the easiest way to get to Faraday is through Justin. I really like
Who cares now?
um, the comedy factor that they introduced in the scene in regards to like Spence pushing Justin down on the chair, and then Faraday saying, "Well, wait a minute, let me get down here too," and slam himself down onto the floor. Um, and then of course, the tooth thing, and the whole scene itself, I wasn't sure what to expect. I initially thought they were just going to use Justin against Faraday because that seemed to be the weakest point,
Right.
for
No,
sure.
I think like at that point, like we see that she is like she's in this 100%. Like she's already, passed off Molly. At this point, she's assuming that her dad is gone, and she's like, giving the CIA what they want is not the way to go. So No, what were we saying? I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I'm just saying, like, yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this, the going into the torture scene, and to be quite honest, like, I was very like shocked because I'm like, what the hell is Lisa doing? Like, it was just so the way that they had her character play. I think her character was the most confusing, to be quite honest. Like the fact that she was really when you thought she was when you thought she was playing for the other team, like she would come in here and be like, "Oh yeah, he's allergic to X-rays." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Damn, bitch, you giving him
Right.
real information to her Faraday with." So it was a
Well, I
little.
mean, he asked. I mean, it wasn't like she could really lie about it. You know what I mean? Like they already had the footage of him at the airport,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
something
Of
that was already
course, of
said. Yeah.
course. I just feel like I think that in a way, I thought she would have hesitated a little bit more. I guess is what I was thinking. But yeah, the torture scene. I figured that Spencer would just do what Spencer does, because Spencer's a dickhead. So there's that.
Yeah, like I said, man, like shout out to Jimmy Simpson, man, who was
Plays
really
the
like a
hell out of this
comedy.
role.
He's
Yeah.
like a comedy actor. Like he does comedy. And he's come into like this world of like drama very well. Like he's come into like these serious scenes, man. And I was just thinking to myself, like I gotta remember that his character of Spencer Clay is not him in real life. Like I
Oh
really
yeah,
hate
yeah.
this
I'm
guy.
pretty sure he got some nasty hate mail like Tariq did off of Power because they mad.
Where people
You know
wanted to
what I
kill that
mean?
little boy, but
They really
it's
mad.
great.
Like it's just a show. It's just a show. Nah, but he does really play the hell out of this role. And I do think that during the scene of just the beginning of the interrogation, you could tell how on edge he is,
Right.
how like his anxiety almost has like flared up, and he's in full like I gotta win mode. I gotta like this is where I have to be mode. I can't come out empty handed type of thing. So yeah,
Right.
it was interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely cool because, like we said, we get a little bit more insight on Faraday's biology and how he works. Because, like we really don't really know too much about what he can do, what he can't do. They really, I mean, I feel like we really haven't gotten into that since like the whole thing with him touching Justin's dad and like altering the DNA and stuff like that. And they haven't really got back to it in the scene where like he spits out like a bunch of like gold or rings and stuff like that. Like
Right,
they
right,
really
right.
haven't.
Yeah.
Right, they
Mm-hmm.
haven't really gotten back to like any of like the abilities of what Antheans can do at all. It
Mm-hmm.
almost kind of seems like throwaway moments. Like I was like, all right, so I'm thinking like throughout the show we're gonna see more. Like okay, they got super strength. Like okay, what else can they do?
Right.
Do they have any abilities, power, stuff like that? But we really stopped seeing any of that past like the whole Jesus touch on Justin's dad.
Oh yeah, I'm just sorry. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but we get to see like okay, like what he's resistant to, like pretty much like pain doesn't really affect him, but whatever it is, they try to waterboard him. They try to
Right. He
waterboard
just
him. That
drinks
doesn't
all
work.
the
And
water.
he drinks all the water. They're freaking out because like where'd all the water go? But of course, like you said, your girl Lisa Dominguez, she decides to point out the X-rays, and they decide to hit him with that. Um, from and whatever reason in my head, I'm thinking like for sure Justin is gonna die, right? Like they're gonna kill Justin off, or like you said, they're gonna definitely use Justin to work him into saying what he needs to say. In the process of the whole X-ray thing, we get his subconscious that comes back from the previous episode,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like pretty much like explaining to him like what he needs to do, um, and then like I said, like and he pretty much like tells him, you know, she tells him that what you need to do to get out of the situation. And we just see Spencer going the full villain, breakdown, psychotic, man. How is this guy a CIA agent? It's beyond me. Like they don't do psych evaluations at the CIA.
They don't do psych
Okay, or
evaluations.
maybe they do, but because
They-
Finch probably kept him where he needed to be, that was probably the reason why he got that far. Um, we cut back to another scene because we get a lot of jumping back and forth here in this episode, where we see Edie come up on Clive come up on Edie. She's talking about the horse about to die, and she explains pretty much that she's had to step up and be the point person for the company. She's had to make sacrifices. She's barely eaten, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that's on you. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
Like,
mean,
nobody, her son is like, oh, what's up with grandpa? Yada yada yada, and like she goes out and gets a gun and shoots the horse. And at this point, I'm like, yeah, she a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely did something, and and she worried about Hatch being a traitor. like,
Right.
this woman is a straight psycho. Like, what did you think about just kind of her behavior at this point? You know what I mean? Because before we've seen her really calm and psychotically docile. Like, if that makes sense.
I mean, I wouldn't consider her calm at all. I would consider her sneaky.
Mm,
I would consider her waiting out her prey, whoever that is.
right. Everybody apparently.
I feel like she felt so powerless that she felt the need to. Well, let me back up real quick. So the scene, with Faraday and Justin going back and forth, them both being basically
Interrogated, tortured.
interrogated, right, or slash tortured. I think that Lisa, pulling out like the fact that they have Molly is real interesting in the fact that Justin doesn't believe her, right? That's one of the first things she says about the
Why would
whole,
she?
once they, so I think that's interesting because, like I said, like I don't think Justin would have died. I think that they just would have, excuse me, used her against Faraday.
No, I think Spencer would have killed her for sure.
I think that I don't really think Spencer would have killed her
You
either.
don't think so?
I think he might have hurt her. I think he would have harmed her because I feel like he knew. I mean, because once you kill Justin, then Faraday has nothing else to live for. I mean, at this point, we are very understanding that you know Faraday is very much he cares about Justin and
Right.
Molly and Josiah. So it's like his subconscious said he got two families: the one that he's dying to be a part of, and the one that he left back on Anthony. And so I think that just having that conversation around the back and forth, you see how he's saying like I don't know, and the truth is he really doesn't know. At least not until his subconscious is awoken. Then he's like, oh shit, like okay.
Right.
But as we progress and we see how we go to Edith. First of all, the fact that they kept showing the walk with her and her dad. I'm like, this chick murdered her pops, like for sure, like absolutely no question. But yeah, I think that the fact that she feels like the best way to do the hard work is to murder people, or to essentially outcast and exile people is beyond me. I knew for sure she was gonna kill the horse. I didn't know she was gonna kill him like that. I thought that she was gonna maybe slice the horse's throat,
Right.
but the shotgun,
That was a
yeah,
little
that's a
exciting.
bit that
And
that was a bit much.
shout out to them crediting, letting Peter know that they did not murder any horses in the filming of the show.
Oh
They always got to
yeah,
put that out there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, well, I would hope not. That's kind of crazy.
Hey man, sometimes you gotta go all in for your craft, man. It's method acting for sure.
Nah, 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 not that all in. But yeah, I mean, I just think that Edith is definitely psychotic, definitely on edge, definitely feels like
Sure.
she's a loser at the end of the day, if we really calling it. Like she feels like she's lost. She feels like she's not good enough despite all of what she's done, trying to hold the company together. Her brother is a backstabber, and then to murder the horse in front of her son while her son is like petting the horse and causing trauma, so much so that he stutters when he's in front of her, because we've seen this now probably like twice where he's done that. And so I just feel like she is by any means necessary for her to have her power, which she doesn't even realize she doesn't have right now. So that's the crazy part to me.
Yeah, she needs to get an evaluation for sure.
Definitely.
We then cut back again to the interrogation of Faraday and Justin. As Faraday's subconscious is pretty much like, yo, play this game with him.
Yeah,
Tell him
give
what
him
he wants to
something.
hear. Tell him, just go ahead and give him what he wants. And he pretty much winds up admitting everything about Newton, and he plans to bring the Anthians to Earth, yada yada yada. And he tells him that there obviously must be a ship here, because there is no other vessels that would be capable of bringing them
They had
down.
to use it, right? Yeah,
Right. So
because
of
they
course
can't come like how he came
looking to
alive.
build a fusion reactor, so that they could pilot a vessel, to be
Right.
able to bring them down. And then they start going into panic mode, like, oh man, here comes the alien invasion. Like she's like, what to do? You see Lisa, pull out her rosary, her little necklace or whatever.
Child, that rosary don't mean nothing to that girl because she been
All right.
abusing the hell. Like, no,
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
do
I
that.
had to write down specifically because, like, again, we don't know where Lisa is in the show. We don't know where her allegiance is or anything like that. But all I just had to put down is Lisa is trash. You know what I mean? Because she out here
Not Lisa is trash.
smacking people, like, and if so, she's a really good actress. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she's playing Clay, and whatever her role is, because we still don't know up to this point like who she's working for. We think it's Finch because that's pretty much the only person that we know that we're aware of, right?
Right.
Um, but like I said, she wants to bring everybody together. Faraday then has the idea of taking a gamble with Spencer Clay, and because he knows everything about him, he has the entire file. He knows everything that the CIA, for whatever reason, had a digital file of something that they kept hidden on Spencer Clay, and tries to get some information. So now it's time to play a little bit of Russian roulette.
Mm-hmm.
5 questions with that. What did you, how tense was this scene for you? Like just watching this and like
Um,
go back and
I
forth.
enjoyed it. I was like, oh, okay, Spence finna die. All right, I'm here for it. I thought it was very interesting because I didn't see that coming. Like, I didn't see the whole Russian roulette thing at all. I thought it
Yeah,
was interesting. I'm not sure that I won't say that it didn't fit. It just was interesting. It just was interesting. So, I mean, I like the idea though because Spencer is basically a narcissist at this point.
oh
He
yeah,
is hungry for power, and he will do anything to get the answers that he so desperately wants and needs. So, not realizing that he's already stepped into a trap, basically. I did, however, think that he was going to live, I guess. Like when they were playing the game, for I again loving the comedic factor because when Faraday was like, for real, like this is what you asking me. Like, this is what you
right.
wasting one of your questions on, right? It's like
Wishing he
going
was
to a genie and being, like you get three wishes. Oh, I wish for turkey subs for eternity. Like seriously,
right.
like that's what we're doing. And so I thought that was interesting. I like the way that Faraday has become so human like though because the way that he responded to with the questions that Spencer was asking, things like that made him very it just made the scene way better for me in my opinion anyway.
Right.
And so yeah, it was very interesting. I didn't expect when it got down to it, when Faraday was given the information and he basically saying like, Finch was the one who ran the operation to begin with, right? And
Mm,
that she also now or was on well, she was on the team that had Newton at first, and that now here she is knowing that she gave him a bone because he's a dog, basically a dog with a bone, and that he would do anything, and that his mom whether alive or dead, Finch took away the one thing that his mother would need to find him. And I was like, damn, homie. Like, she took away your name. And that was crazy. I wasn't expecting him to pull the gun on Faraday because I would have figured that he still wanted his last question.
right. Well, he asked it. You know what I mean? I feel
Right.
like
I was going to say that was the last question. Right,
I
right.
feel, I
So
feel like I lost track of like what question, what number of
I
questions. I was like, we
I
had three
did
or
kind
four.
of too. I did kind of too. That's what I was saying. Like, okay, so that probably was that his last question? I feel like he said, she took away his name. Maybe that was the last question. And then he pulled the gun out on pulled the gun on Faraday,
Right.
and that's when Lisa comes into the room, and I didn't see that happening. I was confused as to why at this point in the game now she would shoot Spence through the mouth at that. Like I mean, listen, I think that could have worked. Like I didn't even
Right.
think you needed to kill him. I think the fact that you shot that man through his mouth, and the fact that your mouth is really like it has so much other shit going on in there. I know I sound twisted. There's so much happening in your mouth already the fact that she shot him in his mouth, I felt like that would be good enough because now he can't talk. There's a lot of things he can't do. But to go ahead and like kill him, I thought it was interesting. I wasn't like, I don't know, I wasn't sure of that, but it was interesting to say the least. Well, I mean, how did you feel about watching that scene?
I mean, I thought when they did that shot, for me, I'm like, okay, he's going to survive this for sure. 'Cause that's not like for some, it's not a fatal thing. You know what I mean? Also, I was thinking in my head, well, I'm like, oh, this kills the comment that one of our watchers had put in there about this being
Yes, that he
about the
was
son.
Noah's son.
Not that clearly you could kill an Anthony with a bullet. You know what I mean? Because Faraday's about to die.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, okay, that's the end of that. But yeah, I was crazy. I didn't expect her to come back up and hit him with the double tap. I think that was it
Make sure I was
for me. Um, but yeah, I was like, dang man, I kind of felt sorry for the guy a little
I
bit at
did
the
a
end.
little, just a
Still
smidge. There's
this
no
man
gap
like
between my fingers.
he still didn't really get the answers that he wanted, and then here comes Lisa popping him off. I mean, why you just kill this man like forever ago? Like, what was kind of your role here? Like, how far did you need this to go? Um,
Yeah.
to whatever. Like, or her plan was to stay where she needed to be to see where the CIA was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which makes all the sense in the world now because we get that revealed at the end of the thing. We also get it confirmed that Edie did indeed kill her father
Mm-hmm.
by Clive. After talking to his uncle, like, yo, your
Mm-hmm.
sister wildin'. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she
But
pushed.
but but you know what my thing is there, not to cut you off though. What I'm curious about is that he would tell Hatch that she killed Grandpa, but wouldn't tell Hatch that she killed the horse because he said I got into a car accident, but that's not true. So I thought it was interesting. Like, why would he give one truth and not another?
That is, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, that definitely is interesting. Maybe, hmm. I feel like I would definitely have led, but oh yeah, your sister just killed a horse.
But right, because he said I
Like,
got into a car accident and I hit a pile of rocks, but that's not the truth. So now that you're telling your uncle that your mom essentially killed Grandpa, his dad,
yeah.
I feel like that's a harder pill to swallow than saying, and by the way, she also killed the horse, like shot him right in front. Like, you know what I mean? That's just weird to me. I feel like, what's the point? So I almost questioned what Clive was doing there. I was like, is he here setting a trap? Like, is he laying a trap down? You know what I mean? But I can tell that he's just genuinely scared, and so he doesn't. I don't know. I'm excited for episode 10. Like, I need to. I really want two more episodes. I just hope that it comes back for a second season because I really did enjoy it.
My only thing about the second season for this is because of how Chiwetel Ejiofor, like how his schedule be, because he's a movie actor. You know what I mean? Like schedules get jammed up with that. And Naomi Harris is too. Like, pretty much almost everybody. The main three people in this movie, the main four people who like in this show are movie actors. So hopefully they are able to do it. This show was also kind of like done a while ago, and kind of got shuffled around before it finally got put on Showtime.
Right.
So hopefully we do get picked up for a second season because I do think it is really good. Um, we then get to the end of this and we find out the big reveal. Spencer's dead. Lisa didn't kill him. They let Faraday and Justin free. We then found out that the company that they were trying to sell to in the first place was trying to acquire the fusion thing anyway, and they're also trying to protect Justin and Faraday and everybody. Pretty much let her know like, hey, your family is infinitely covered till from here to the end of time. You know what I mean? We're covering
Right.
everything.
Right.
We just need you to come with us on a little retreat for 36 hours because they have to go. Visit Thorn, who is like this recluse, like who nobody's seen in God knows how long.
Right.
We didn't get it revealed that it's freaking
Newton.
Thomas Newton, who I'm like, yeah, I should have saw. I saw that coming. Like, by the way, I'm like, yeah, okay, we saw
Yeah,
that
because
coming.
remember we talked about this in the last episode. We
Right.
said so this man is here, willing to give him $15 million. And then he said, no, give me 30. And then he was like, the fact that you're willing to double it lets me know you got more. Give me 60. So for essentially nothing, but it's not nothing. Now we understand why they were putting in the offer to buy his shares, because now he would have majority stock, majority control over the company. So I'm
which
wondering,
was originally his anyway.
right? So I'm wondering if he's sold, because it seems as though in the episode the guy goes on to say, like, Hatch needs protection more than he realizes. He says that what else did he say? Damn, I just drew a blank. But yeah, he says that Hatch needs protection. Of course, he mentioned that he was going to take care of Faraday, Justin, and the family for indefinitely. That that the fusion is indeed life changing and is going
Hmm.
to save the world. So my thing is, I think that's the only loophole for me is or not, the like unfinished business, so to speak. Like, did they buy Hatch's shares? Did he actually get the
I,
money?
I think he was kind of. I mean, it feels like at that point he was just kind of done with the company. Like he just wanted to be, done with it in general. And I want to say yeah, because when we originally come into that scene where Clive is trying to talk to his mom, he was like, "Yeah, well, your uncle has a plan. He has a plan. This, that, and the third." Um, but if he didn't, I feel like after that story he just told him, he probably is even definitely
Yeah,
going to be selling the shares now. And I feel like Hatch has been off the board for a while. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as like helping them out, like it's like he's gotten them to like a certain point, and then they just kind of just stopped using them. And then it
yeah.
just kind of been like, okay, it was between him and dealing with his sister or trying to redeem his name, and getting we really haven't really seen him do too much in the show after a certain point. Um, but are you surprised? Like I said, you're not surprised to see your boy Thomas Newton at the end of this, right?
Not really surprised. No. I just felt like it was too incognito that the man was doing all the work for whomever Thorne was. So
Mhm.
it just seemed a little bit like, it could be somebody else or it could be Newton. So, and here we have it that it's Newton. And one of our commentators actually said that Lisa was working for Newton. I just don't think that she knew she was working for Newton. So I think it's a
I
surprise. None of them know who he
no.
is. They still think that it's Thorne. So none of them know. So I'm interested to see what happens now that it's revealed and Faraday and Justin's meet
Right.
Newton. Like, what happens now?
Well, that's one of the things that Faraday was saying. Like, Newton was always the asset anyway, because he explains that Finch was on the original team that was had caught him and investigated him. And they peeled him back and did whatever they did to him. So this is one of the reasons why when he went off the grid and disappeared, they just got a little nervous because now they feel like it's going to be some type of retaliation, which potentially is coming. But we don't know. I guess this
Right.
is the point of the show. We didn't wrap up that episode. Um, what are your kind of your predictions into episode 10? How do you think this is going to end? You think are we gonna is it going to end on like a nice clean wrap up, or are we going to get a potential cliffhanger here? Like what do you think's happening?
I doubt it, but before I wrap completely, I do want to point out that the comment that they make when Portia talks to Justin about her dad going back to the
Oh
way
yeah,
he was, which
yeah.
is a very pivotal moment, because we were wondering whether or not he would go back to being, whether he would ever go, have any human emotional tendencies. But the transfusion, right? Because essentially he gave Faraday all of his blood, essentially, and
Yeah,
now he's filled
essentially his
with,
eternal life. He
right.
sacrificed that to save him.
Right, exactly. So now he's back to his normal of what it was prior to when we first started this season. And so I think that's interesting. I want to see how that dynamic will play out, because while I'm pretty sure she'll be happy to have her dad, I know that is a little bit of a different. But now that they have Thorne, aka Newton's
They got the
money,
money,
right?
yeah, which
They
was which was the issue at the beginning, was
right.
dealing with the financial burden of that entire situation and seeing her dad kind of go through that regenerative state.
Right. Yeah. So, but overall, I think that the season is gonna end. Um, I want to say that it might be a nice clean wrap up, only because we don't know whether or not we're going to get a season two. However, I feel like it might be messy, even if it's a nice wrap up at the end. I, however, would like to see something that gives a little bit of a cliffhanger leading towards season two. But overall, I feel like it's been an amazing season. They did a lot of build up, and I can't wait to see season 10. I mean, episode 10.
Yeah,
Season.
that's crazy too because we've taken a major player off the board now. That's been there from
Right,
the
Spence.
beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
But what if he doesn't die? What if he gets back up? What if he is half Anthian?
Nah, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead.
what if that's possible?
He's dead.
Hmm. I guess we won't know until episode 10. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think that we definitely it's definitely going to lead on the cliffhanger. This is labeled as season one, stuff like that. But there's still a lot on the table
Right.
that we haven't gotten back to. We still haven't gotten back to the point where we see Faraday, on the CEO thing that we see at the beginning, and remember, like, we're still retelling a story,
Right.
from the beginning. So we haven't gotten to that point, and I'm not sure how many seasons that's going to take, but there's still a lot of like other stuff we still don't know. The whole thing with Finch, a little bit more with Thomas Newton, what's going on there, and what his plan is. I guess we'll find on next episode, but I can't wait, man. That's definitely, like I said, this is one of the best shows. Like I said, it's becoming a point in television for me, and I'm definitely
Yeah,
enjoying it.
for
Cannot
sure.
wait for episode 10.
Episode 10. Let us know your thoughts, guys, on episode 9. What you like, what you didn't like, who you rooting for, how you want it to end. Do you want a season 2? Let us know. And I'm pretty sure that you guys will let us know if we left something out or said somebody's name wrong because, well,
Yeah,
that's what y'all do.
right.
But until next time, you can catch us right here on the Big Gold Belt Media channel and stay tuned for so much more. Peace.
See you.